Hey guys, welcome back to another haircut tutorial. Today we have Billy in the chair. With Billy's hair, we usually do a texture comb over on top and a mid to high skin fade on the side. Usually Billy likes to sweep his hair to the right hand side of his head. So right now I'm just sectioning out the right side of his head where we actually blend the sides to the top. The other side of his head is usually connected, so I don't need to section that portion out because it's already short enough and he usually gets his haircut every 2 weeks, so that's why I'm not sectioning it off. If his hair was way longer and he gets his haircut maybe every month or 2 months, then I'll start sectioning off the other side as well. So right now I'm just blow drying the sides and top, making sure that everything is dry before I start doing any of my clipper work right now. For me, I've been cutting Billy's hair for over 2 years now, so I know his head very well. But if a new client sits in your chair, this is a great opportunity where you feel his head, especially when you're blow drying it because you're trying to get everything dry. So there's a great opportunity to just analyze the head even more when you're blow drying it. After completing the blow dry, now we can start the fading process of the haircut. Right now I'm creating my low guide with my trimmer. Usually we debulk first with our number 3 guard, but right now Billy's hair is really short already, so I'm just going in and create my low guide right away and just start the fading process. Right now you can see that I created this guideline right at the TPP area, so my fade will be just midway on the head. In the back area, we gotta dip down just a slightly bit, just so we don't shave too high into the crown area. Now we're gonna repeat the same process at the back of the head. We can see that with Billy's crown, his hair in that area grows naturally clockwise. But in this area, we usually take it pretty short, but still able to manage to keep that silhouette at the back of the head so it still looks full. If we take it too high with our high guide or our low guide, we're going to end up shaving up too high into the crown area, ruining the silhouette of the haircut. So this is a kind of a happy medium where someone has a tough growth pattern, but we're able to still take it tight at the back, but able to still keep hair there to create that silhouette that we needed. After creating our low guide, now we're going to bring in our shaver and debulk the hair even more to create our skin line. Making sure that we're using double foil and single foil near the ear area and using a double foil near the back area because this area usually has more density with hair follicles. If we do create a guideline, we want to swipe down with our foil just to erase that line. If the line is still presented, you'll likely have to go back in with your trimmer just to detail that line out. And if the line's still there, you may have to go back in with your shaver just to swipe that line out even more. After completing that step, now we're going to start fading out the hair. Now I'm going to go in with my blade all the way open, creating a guideline an inch up, making sure that we are going consistently with our high guide and our low guide, mimicking the same shape that we created. Right now I'm more on the forefront of the blade, meaning that I'm not using my heel, I'm using more on my teeth area. Now I'm going to close the blade all the way and create my guideline half an inch up. Then I'm going to open it a quarter way halfway, and 3/4 way, and just detail that line out even more. If you're getting too close to your 0.5 or your blade open line, just use a bit more corners than anything. And if you do push that line a bit too high, you can go back and open up your blade all the way just to create a new guideline. After fading out that guideline, now we'll go in with our number 1 guard all the way open and create another guideline an inch up, making sure that we have enough space to fade into this haircut. We can see that we're getting higher and higher into the parietal ridge area, making sure that eventually we gotta start scooping out, making sure that we're gonna use our heel more. Right now I'm still using the forefront of my blade right now because we're still working on a flatter surface. To get rid of this line, we're gonna close our number 1 guard all the way and going in 1/2 inch up. Then we're gonna use our 1/2 guard, halfway open and all the way closed just to detail that line out. If the line is still presented, we can go back in with our blade open and use a lot of corners just to detail that line out. Now I'm going to use my 1.5 guard all the way open and blend from the sides all the way into the top. Like I said earlier, Billy's hair is really short, so I can just use and get away with my 1.5 guard all the way open and just blend right into it. And then I can just close it all the way just to get rid of that line. But if you guys are struggling with doing that, you can just go in with a 2 guard all the way closed or a number 3 guard all the way closed and just work your way down. There's no right or wrong way of fading, it just depends what's more comfortable to you and how well you know your client's head shape. So right now I'm just gonna go back in with my 1 guard all the way open, playing around with the lever, opening it all the way, opening it halfway, opening, closing it all the way, just to detail that around that mastoid area, just to even out the colors. Now I'm gonna go in with my 1/2 guard, halfway open, all the way closed, all the way open, just to detail that area a bit more, making sure that I'm not going into the head shape and making sure that I'm still flicking out around that area. Now I'm gonna go back in with my blade halfway open, all the way open, 3/4 way open, and just keep detailing around this area, making sure that I'm using a lot of corners and just lining up certain areas of the head just to make sure that the color density is even. Now we'll go back in with our clipper over comb just to blend the top to the side, making sure that we're doing some horizontal clipper over comb and some vertical clipper over comb, just to make sure that the silhouette's still tight on the sides, but still able to remove that bulk and create that silhouette that we need. Now I'm gonna go back in with my trimmer just to do some freehanding on that top edge of his non-parting side, just to make sure that everything is laying flat and all the hairs aren't sticking out. Usually with shorter Asian hair, it usually tends to stick out, so right now I'm just layering the hair with some freehanding, making sure that everything sits nicely. Now I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side, making sure that we'll go in first with our blade all the way open, creating a guideline an inch up, making sure that we're on the forefront of our blade rather than the heel, making sure that we're putting enough pressure on this area to create that nice guideline across, making sure that everything is neat. To erase this guideline, we're going to go in, close our clipper blade all the way to 0, open it a 1/4 way, halfway, 3/4 way, just to detail this line out. If a line is still presented, you may have to go back in with your trimmer and use a bunch of corners just to detail that line out. Next, we're going to use our 1 guard all the way open to create our next guideline an inch up, making sure that we have enough space to fade this line out. Right now we can see that near the temple area, this area is where the head dips in quite a bit, so we're going to flick out a bit more there. And near the back area, near the mastoid area, it's still flat, so we're still going to dig in that area. To erase this line, we're going to close our clipper all the way and just detail that line out a bit more. And if the line is still presented, we'll go back in with our 1/2 guard, halfway open and fully closed just to get that line out. Now I'm going to use my blade with no guard on and halfway open, just to use a bunch of corners just to detail this mastoid area, because this dark area is still a bit darker. His hair density in this area is still scattered with a bit high density and low density. So right now I'm just using my eyes and just visually see what is bothering me, what is not matching up, and just detail that line out. Now I'm going to use my 1.5 guard all the way open and just flick into that area to the top area so we can just blend everything in. Like I mentioned earlier, near the temple area in the front, near the recession area, that's when the head dips in, so we got to flick out a bit more in that area and use more heel. And when we get back to the masto area, we can use more of the front of the teeth just because that area is a bit more flat. After completing all our guidelines and fading them all out, now I can go back in and visually look at it and see what is darker and what is lighter. So right now I'm going in with my one guard, using the lever, opening it, closing it, and just detailing the areas that's a bit darker, like the mastoid area, and just lining that area, making sure that the fade is consistent throughout the head. Now I'm going to repeat the same process from a half guard and then likely my blade open just to keep detailing these areas out, making sure that I'm not using the full blade but mostly in my corners just so I can just pick and chip away these darker colors. And now I'm going to use my clipper comb and just do some vertical clipper comb just to fine tune that shape, making sure that everything is tight and compact, making sure that everything's still squared. After completing both sides of the head, now we can match both sides to the back area. Right now I'm going to use my blade all the way open to create another guideline, an inch up, making sure that I have enough space to fade this line out. We can really see that this back area is super dense because my blade all the way open looks like almost a number one all the way closed. So we're going to be doing a lot of detailing in this area, meaning that we're not going to be fading with our guidelines, but fading more visually at the end of it. Now I'm going to close the blade all the way, open it halfway, 3/4 way, and just keep detailing this line out and see if the line disappears. You can still see that the line is still there, so I'm going to go back in with my trimmer and detail that line even more. Now we'll go in with our one guard all the way open to create our next guideline an inch up. We can see that this area of the head's still pretty flat, so I'm still using the forefront on my blade rather than my heel. Now I'm going to close my one guard all the way and just detail this line out even more. We can still see that this line is still there and the darkness is still present. So we're going to go back in with our half guard, halfway open, and fully close just to detail that line out even more. Now I'm going to go back in without my guards and just detail with my lever, making sure that we're detailing the areas that are still darker and making sure that the fade's consistent throughout the head. If you guys recall earlier, I used my one guard all the way open and one guard all the way closed in this zone. Now I'm using my blade all the way open, halfway open, and all the way closed in this area now, where we actually used our one guard earlier. Our fading system is just the foundation of a fade. It's a great stepping stone and a great start off to our fade. But if you want to be a good fader or understand how to fade hair properly, you have to understand to use your eyes at the end to detail out those dark spots to create that nice coherent and consistent fade throughout the head. Now I'm going to go back in with my 1.5 guard all the way open and just flick all the way up, making sure that I'm using heel just to detail this bulk out near the back of the head. To erase this line, we'll close it all the way and just keep detailing and chipping away that guideline out. Now I'm going to use my half guard and just detail out these dark spots, making sure that I'm using a lot of corners and using my lever just to detail these darker spots out to make everything more smoother. Now I'm going to go back in with my blade halfway open, all the way open, and just use a bunch of corners and keep detailing these darker areas out just because we want everything to be super smooth. You can see that I'm taking this blade all the way open, all the way up into our 1.5 guard territory. It's because in this territory it's a bit darker and there's more hair follicles, so that's why I'm going back in with my blade open rather than a 1 guard or a 0.5 guard, just to make sure that this area is way shorter than you expect it to be. Now I'm gonna go in with some clipper or comb and some freehanding just to make sure that the shape is all tidy up. And right now I'm gonna go in with some clipper or comb vertically and just kind of freehand that back area so everything's a bit shorter, but still able to maintain that square silhouette that we want. Now I'm going to use my scissors and point cut darker patches in the hair just so it lightens up a bit more. Right now I'm just going very gently and kind of going in, slowly pulling the scissor back out, making sure that I'm using my eyes to visually see that these areas are getting lighter. Now I'm gonna go back with a trimmer and freehand near the crown area just so this area lays a bit more softer. We can see that this edge right here is still sticking out, so I'm just gonna round this corner off a bit more just so everything is a bit more layered. After finishing sides, now we can start focusing on the top. Right now I'm just saturating everything evenly, making sure that everything's equally damp. Now I'm going to pull a horizontal section back to our previous guideline that we created with our trimmers when we first started freehanding the back area. Every new section is going to go back to a previous section, creating that square shape that we always talk about in our theory section. Right now I'm incorporating a bit of texturizing with some point cutting while I cut this length off while it's wet, just so it adds a bit more texture to the hair. You can see that by the time when we get to the front, we're over directing a bit more back, making sure that we are compensating for the head's roundness in the front where the apex is. My horizontal shape will be a bit more square on the left side and more round on the right side. And my vertical shape will be squared throughout the head. After completing the top, now we'll go back in with our longer pairs of scissors just to do some scissor comb just to soften that parietal ridge area so the transition from the top to the side will be smooth. Still having my scissors in my hand, now I'm gonna go in and just kind of freehand the silhouette a bit more just so that it's a bit tighter. After completing this, after completing the sides and blending everything in around the brow ridge area, now we're gonna resaturate the hair so we can pre-style it. I'm gonna spray a bit of texture spray or some sea salt spray just to add a bit of grit and enhance that look. Now I'm gonna go in with my blow dryer with the nozzle, medium heat, high speed, and just slowly rough dry the hair, making sure that we're moving our opposing hand around just to create that texture. After completing the blow dry, I'm gonna go back in and just refine the shape and making sure that nothing is really sticking out too much. Making sure that all the hairs are laying naturally and seeing what I need to still texturize or not texturize or just refine. To finish it off, I'm gonna add a bit of matte paste into the hair just so we can enhance that look even more, just to create all that texture. Well, there you have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.